I remember when I was dancing with this girl during the winter dance, I looked at her and said, yo, so like, are we still, friends with benefits? And that's when this girl stopped dancing with me, grabbed me by my hand and said, follow me. And that's when me and her, we went to the school bathroom and did something extremely illegal. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another embarrassing but crazy story. Now, this story starts off all back when I was in grade 10. And my grade 10 year, I was the biggest player known to man. No joke, I would do whatever walked, and even, I guess, not walked, according to my other videos on this channel. But that's not the point. I remember during the school year, it became December, and December was like one of the biggest times during the school year where everyone would be talking about the holidays and all the crazy events that were gonna come up. And one of the events that was so important to a lot of people in my school for some reason was the winter dance. Now me, I didn't really care about the winter dance since the year before that I already made it a big deal for myself. So knowing that I was already in my second year in high school and the winter dance was coming up again, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really care much for it. At this time, I was more focused on pulling girls than actually enjoying the winter dance. But I remember one day I was walking down the school hallway with one of the girls that I would call my friends with benefits. If you guys don't know what that is, basically it was a girl that I would do the devil's tango with, but she would only just be my friend. We weren't dating, and there were no strings attached whatsoever. If anything, a better word for this would be sneaky link. But going on with the story, I remember as me and her were walking down the hallway, she looked over at me and said, oh, so Bubba, you excited for like the winter dance this year? I guess. Not really, to be honest. I could care less this year. Wait, what do you mean? Well, I don't know. Like, I don't see a point. Like, I don't see what the big deal is. Well, obviously, to go to the dance and, celebrate, have a good time with like your fellow classmates. Like, it's a huge deal. I knew at this moment that this girl really had strong emotions towards going to the winter dance, but to be fair, a lot of girls in my school were. Because for girls in my school, the winter dance was like a big deal and sort of treated it as if it was prom. Now, my opinion, prom's a big deal, okay? Prom is actually a really big deal when it comes to high school life, but the winter dance, really? Doesn't seem that important. Knowing that you're doing it for 4 years straight compared to prom where you're doing it for exactly 1 year and that's your grad year, you gotta understand there's a major difference. But a lot of girls in my school didn't, and they saw it as practice for guys to ask them out the best way possible so that when it came to the years of prom, they would have the biggest questioning of going to prom ever. But me, like I said, I didn't care. And that's when I ended up telling her, honestly, I think I might just not even go. Wait, what? Are you serious, Bubba? Well, yeah, I don't really see a point, like I said earlier. Bubba, you do realize that the winter dance is a big deal for me, right? Well, yeah, I can tell it's a big deal for you, but I just don't see a point. You know what? I'm done with this conversation. At that moment, she ended up basically walking away from me, and at that time, I couldn't care less and continued on with my day. And when after school finally came around, I was walking down the hallway to go get my books from my locker to bring home. And as I was walking that direction, I ended up seeing a bunch of people in a crowd just watching someone getting asked to the winter formal. Now, this was a really big deal for everyone to watch, and I remember so many people were whipping out their phones and everything. And that's when the girl that was my friends with benefits ended up coming up behind me. She came up behind me and said, oh, is someone getting asked? No, wait, who is it? I'm so curious. And basically talking like a really perky girl voice as if this was like a reality TV show. But a lot of people started freaking out and being really happy that the girl in the hallway got asked out by one of the guys. And that's when she looked at me and said, see, Bubba, don't you see how important it is for someone? Not really. It's just asking someone out just in a really over dramatic way. Are you joking? No, not really. And that's when she once again just walks away upset. Now at that moment, I kind of thought in my head that maybe she wanted me to ask her, but I wasn't too sure because once again, she was only my friends with benefits and no strings attached. That's like the golden rule. So I decided to basically kind of just, shrug it off and pretend nothing was going on between me and her. And that day when I got home, I remember I was laying in bed and I was just kind of vibing, doing my own thing. And then I ended up for some reason randomly getting bricked. Now this was normal as a, high schooler. You get bricked at random moments in time. And me, I thought, you know what? Why not hit up my sneaky link that would always be ready and on standby for me to go do the devil's tango. And when I shot her a text message, she did not reply. She was straight up ignoring me and leaving me on red. Now I wasn't sure why she was upset at me. And to be honest, I was like, wait, what? Why isn't she answering? She usually does. And at that day, I actually had to go on the devil's hub to take care of my business. Obviously, it was super annoying because I don't like going on the devil's hub. But I mean, it is what it is. The next day, I remember I ended up going to school and I ended up going to my locker and I saw her nearby and that's when I walked up to her. I walked up to her saying, hey, are we good? What's wrong? You didn't answer me last night. You just left me on red. Honestly, is that all I'm good for, Bubba? like, do you not see anything else? Like, you do realize friends with benefits also mean friends. The friends part. Yeah, no, I get that, but like, what's your deal? But you do realize that going to this winter formal is important to me, right? Yeah, I understand. So you know what? If you're not even willing to do your friendship part of taking me to winter formal, then honestly, I'm done being friends with benefits with you. At that moment, I just stood in place confused on all this, and she just walks away. And that's when my mind started boggling, because like, come on, like, friends with benefits, no strings attached. Like, wouldn't me asking her to winter formal be also, you know, adding strings? To be honest, I don't really know. Comment down below what you guys think, but honestly, I wasn't really sure at the time. But I remember throughout the school day, I started to really think to myself, thinking, honestly, like, if she just wants me to ask her out, I could just do it. Like, at least gives me a date to go to winter formal, and might as well show up because most of my friends are going. So sure, you know what? I'll just ask her. And that's when I planned to basically ask this girl my sneaky link to the winter formal. I remember I ended up going to the mall at lunchtime and actually picking up some spray paint that you could put on your car and easily wash off. And that's when I went to my car and I drew on there the question of me asking her to winter formal. Since she wanted it to be a big deal, I made sure it was a big deal because it means a lot when she was a sneaky link, which sounds insane because it's not like she was my girlfriend or anything, but still, I made it seem like she was going to be a big deal. I basically made it a bigger gesture than it already should have been. And I remember after school finally came around, I parked my car in front of the school, and that's when I texted her saying, yo, I was wondering, can you just meet me in front of the school real quick? I need to talk to you. It's really important. And that's when she texted me back saying, oh, fine, I'm coming. And when the bell rang, a lot of kids started to come out of the school and saw me in front of my car with this question while I was sitting on my car. And a lot of people started pulling out their phones. And finally, when this sneaky link ended up finally coming outside of the school, she saw me, ran up to me, and gave me the biggest hug. We didn't kiss or anything because obviously sneaky links, well, you have to be sneaky with it. So we didn't make it seem like we were in a relationship already or anything, even though everyone filmed me and basically became talk of the school for like a while. But finally, the day when winter formal finally came up, I ended up picking her up with my car, and you know, we did the whole traditional picking her up and meeting her parents and all that crazy stuff, which her parents already knew me, but they thought I was just some guy that would help her with homework, even though the only homework I was doing was sticking my eggplant in her. Sorry, way out of topic, but you know what I mean. And well, one thing led to another. We ended up getting inside my car, going to the school, and we went and enjoyed our winter formal. Now, winter formal goes the same way as usual. It's just people dancing, having fun, listening to old kids bop music that really sucks because half of the music nowadays have swear words in it. And well, in winter formal and even prom, they censor every single word. So half of the time, the music would just have gaps in it throughout the lyrics, and it was really annoying. But then I remember a slow dance came on, and me and my sneaky link, we ended up starting to slow dance beside each other. And that's when I saw the smile on her face, and I whispered in her ear saying, so does this mean we're still, you know, friends with benefits? And that's when she pulls away from me, and she grabs me by my hand and drags me all the way to the woman's bathroom, brings me inside, goes inside a stall, and me and her start making out, and we end up doing the devil's tango in the bathroom. Yeah, I know, literally insane and super out of the blue, but at the same time, it gave me my answer that me and this girl were still friends with benefits. And I will say this, it didn't last long after the winter formal because 2 weeks later, she ended up getting a boyfriend and terminating her friends with benefits contract. But what I will say was that, you know, at least I had a good winter formal. Might have been in the bathroom, but still kind of weird. But if you guys don't believe the story is real whatsoever, then follow for more embarrassing stories just like this one. Peace out, guys. Alright, so what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to an insane story. So today's story takes place back when I was actually, funny enough, my grade 9 year. In grade 9, I'm not gonna lie to you, I did a lot of crazy things. But one thing I never expected to do was to do a girl in the bathroom stall. Or to be exact, on the toilet. The way this ended up happening was actually really weird, but I remember one time I was in school just hanging out doing my own thing, and there was a girl that I knew about in my class that I wasn't really a fan of. If you're wondering what class it was, I think it was language arts. But going on with the story, I remember basically during language arts, me and her, we would kind of sit beside each other but not talk at all. Me and her weren't interested in each other, and don't get me wrong, even though she had a nice pair of cherries, me and her, we just never spoke. But this is where the story gets actually pretty interesting. I remember one time she ended up looking at me saying, Bubba, I'm just curious, do you know this girl? And she showed me a photo of a girl that I actually did the devil's tango with back last year when I was in grade 8. Now, I remember I was embarrassed to say yes, so I ended up just saying, I mean, I'm friends with her and I know about her. And that's when she ended up looking at me with an eyebrow raised saying, I'm just curious, did you do the devil's tango with her? What? Why would you ask that? Is what I said afterwards. And then I remember she was explaining to me me how basically she's friends with this girl and how she, you know, was told about how me and her did it and how we did it on a middle school roof. That is a story on the channel, by the way. If you do want to go out and watch it, go for it. But going on with the story, she was very interested in how I basically did the devil's tango. So I remember from there, I remember just looking at her saying, to be honest, I don't really want to talk about this just, you know, out loud. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird. And then that's when she said, oh, like, it's fine. Like, you know what? Like, here, add my Snapchat. And then from there, I ended up adding this girl's Snap. Now, once again, like in the beginning of the story, I said I wasn't interested in her, and I really wasn't. But I really wanted to see where this was gonna go. So I remember from there, basically, me and her, we were just snapping back and forth. I would snap her during the day, she snapped me at night, and all we talked about was basically the devil's tango. Now, let me say this. Having a conversation with a girl is not a hard thing to do, but having conversations with a girl about the devil's tango usually leads somewhere. And what does it usually lead to? Well, actually doing the devil's tango. But obviously with me and this girl, it didn't happen so quickly. I remember me and her, we were just talking on Snap, and we were basically talking about one topic that I never expected to talk about. And that was, what was the perfect size? Now guys, if you're watching this video, I want you quickly, just with your hands, make the right size, and girls, you do the same thing. Now, I'm telling you right now, the guys are obviously gonna show bigger than the girls, because I don't know why this girl told me, oh, to be honest, like, I'm more of like a 5-inch type of person. Wow, congratulations. Half of the population is 5 inches. Congrats. Sorry, that's a really weird fun fact to say, but did you know actually the most common eggplant size is 5 inches? Yeah. Kind of interesting. Going on with the story though, I remember we were talking about it, and to be honest, I didn't really want to talk about eggplants with her. So I decided to talk to her about the next best thing, and that was cherries. Now, cherries are amazing. I'm not joking. Comment down below what you guys prefer. Cherries or peaches? But for me, I'm a cherry guy. And to be honest with you, if you guys like peaches, fun fact, you are a percentage of gay. Did you guys know that if you like peaches more than cherries, there's a chance that you might be gay? Now, you're probably looking at me saying, what in the world am I talking about? Dude, can you just talk about the story? No, actually, I'm going to tell you this fun fact. So did you know that in this world, any guy and girl can have a nice peach? Like, I'm not joking when I say this. Many, and I mean many people, can go to the gym, do 100 squats a day, and have the nicest peach ever. But as for cherries, only women have them. And on top of that, only a nice pair of cherries is very rare to find. So I'm just saying, for all those peach guys out there, you might want to reconsider saying the word cherries when a girl asks you what you prefer. Because at the end of the day, have you seen those baseball players? Yeah, they have a nice peach. Anyways, going on with the story though, I remember I ended up telling her that fun fact, and she started laughing saying, well, I mean, my cherries are good too. Your cherries are nice, is what I said with an eyebrow raise emoji. And this is where things get really, well, to the other side of things, if you know what I mean. I remember I ended up snapping her saying, well, like, I'm gonna be for real with you, I don't believe it, because it's hard finding a nice girl with nice cherries. And at that moment, she ended up sending me a photo of her cherries, and I'm not gonna lie, she had a nice rack. Like, no joke. So I remember from there, I got bricked up, and, you know, she ended up telling me to send her something. Obviously, I didn't. Guys on the internet, please don't send your photos anywhere. It's not a good idea. I'm just saying that for privacy reasons. YouTube, don't demonetize this video. And then I remember from there, we always had that devil's tango tension going on. The next day at school, I remember I sat down beside her, and I'm not gonna lie, it felt really weird sitting beside her, knowing exactly what was through that shirt. But at the same time, it kind of got me in the mood, and I remember me and her, we just kept looking back and forth at each other because we both knew that, like, you know, we were attracted to each other and stuff, and it wasn't as awkward as before when, to be honest, me and her weren't attracted to each other, and we were just, you know, two people sitting beside each other. But it got to the point where I remember she looked at me and I looked at her, and it got to the point where, I'm not gonna lie, she snapped me saying, I'm wet right now. Now, when she texted me that on Snapchat, I didn't know what to say. In my mind, I was thinking that maybe I should just play it cool and, you know, just act like I don't need it. But at the same time, like I said in an older video, I'm a hypersexual. If I'm gonna do it, I gotta do the devil's tango. So I ended up messaging her on Snap saying, yo, okay, you know what we could do? We could go to the bathroom. The bathroom? Are you crazy? Like, there's nowhere we're going to the bathroom. No, trust me, we're going to the bathroom. I mean, which one? And then that's when we decided to go to a bathroom stall in the guys' change room. Yeah, I know, kind of insane, but I remember I ended up leaving, going to the guys' change room since PE was already in session. No one would be in the change room. And basically, this girl, she ended up following behind me 2 seconds later, going into the guys' change room. Now, obviously, we didn't want to do it straight up in the change room. So I remember me and her, we ended up going into a bathroom stall. And in the bathroom stall, there was obviously going to be a toilet. Since there was a toilet, I remember I ended up sitting down on the toilet, and this girl ended up sitting on me. And let's just say, yeah, we ended up doing the Devil's Tango. I remember as we were doing it, she ended up yelling my name like over and over again. Like, you know how awkward it is when a girl goes, Baba, Baba, Baba? Like, it's just really awkward. But I remember when that happened, I was just kind of just, you know, doing my thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even get to finish. She finished before me. I know. Crazy. But I won't lie to you guys, there was a reason for that. And the reason was that since I sat on the toilet with my pants off, my brain decided to tell my body that I have to go take a fat dump. So from there, I remember I was basically more in need of, you know, taking a dump than doing the Devil's Tango. So the whole time when this chick was riding me on a toilet seat, I was basically thinking about dropping a deuce. Yeah, really weird. But I remember that whole thing ended up getting really awkward. And to be honest, she ended up saying like, oh, like, do you not want to finish? And I told her I didn't want to. And to be honest, like, I was just not in the mood anymore. And me and her, we ended up going back to class, sitting down really awkwardly. And yeah, I mean, that's basically it. We didn't get caught, nothing. It was just another common day of me doing the Devil's Tango. But I mean, hey, there's a lot of those to tell on this channel. Anyways, guys, that is basically it for today's story. Make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and like I always say, follow for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys. I remember when she made me drink a ton of water. I didn't know why until she took me into the bathroom and went on her knees and said, okay, Bubba, put it on me. Give me the golden shower. Like, what was this girl asking me to do? Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome to another really embarrassing story. So today's story all takes place back in my high school years, and this was actually my grade 12 year. So my grade 12 year, I was actually graduating and getting out of high school. And honestly, I was really excited too, because I'm not gonna lie to you, school is probably the worst years of my life. Even though it may sound really entertaining throughout this channel of me telling all these insane stories, I won't lie, I never really enjoyed high school. Part of me wishes nowadays, since I'm older now, is that I wish I actually paid attention more in school and actually focus on an actual future and actually go to college. But I mean, thanks to you guys made my future more fun with doing these stories. But going on with this story, I remember one time my grade 12 year, I remember I was just walking around the school, just hanging out with some of my friends, and out of nowhere, I ended up seeing a girl that not a lot of guys really talk to. I didn't know why until I looked over at one of my friends and asked him, yo, bro, I'm just curious. Why does no one talk to that girl? Like, for real, in the beginning of the school year, she was all popular. Now she's just like, what, weird? Oh, bro, you didn't hear? Apparently she's like into like some really weird stuff, bro. Trust me, you don't want to talk to her. Well, I mean, she's not ugly. How bad could it be? I remember my friends ended up shrugging their shoulders because they didn't know why this girl was known to be so weird. So what I decided to do is actually walk up to her. I remember I walked up to her straight up and I said, hey, like, how's it going? I'm Bubba. Oh, hey, Bubba. Yeah, I know about you. Some of the girls talk about you in class. Oh, what did they say? Hopefully good things. Well, I mean, other than, you know, you being really good at Devil's Tango, they say some pretty weird stuff about you. Okay, well, that sucks. But other than that, I mean, like, you down to like maybe hang out? Actually, you know what? You might be the perfect guy the more I think about it. When she said this, I did not know what she was talking about, but she ended up giving me her phone and we ended up exchanging social medias. And while one thing led to another, I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was locked in. But right after this girl walks away, one of the guys that I used to play rugby with ended up walking up to me saying, yo, Bubba, what are you doing with that girl, bro? I don't know, just, you know, decided to talk to her. Why? What's up? Bro, you do know that's like the weird girl, right? Like, she's major weird. Yeah, no, I heard. I don't know why though. Do you know? Well, no, I don't know, but like, all I'm saying is, bro, is like, it's your funeral. And he walked away. At this point, obviously something was really off with this girl. But me, you gotta understand, at this time in my life, I did a lot of the Devil's Tango. So I thought I was prepared for anything. My confidence boost was like to the max. So instantly right at that moment, I remember I ended up heading to my next class. And as I was in my next class, I remember I ended up getting a text message on my phone. It was from the girl that I just talked to. And she was like telling me about like, you know, life and stuff and how she had a pretty hard childhood. And, you know, she started basically trauma dumping me. And girls do this a lot for some reason. They think like right away when they meet a new person in their life, they think trauma dumping is probably the smartest thing to do. When in reality, girls, if you're watching this, it's really a turn off. But obviously I was being nice about it and I was listening in on everything. And then one thing led to another. I remember she ended up saying, oh, so like after school, what do you want to do? Oh, I was thinking of maybe like, you know, hanging out, just chilling. Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking we go back to my place. I mean, we can, but like, don't you like want to like hang out first? I mean, yeah, we can. I'm down. Now, the reason I didn't instantly decide to go to her place was because obviously I wanted to actually get to know this girl to make sure I wasn't going into some crazy stuff. Because even though I was super confident in myself, obviously I wanted to know why everyone thought she was so weird. So one thing led to another. I remember after school came around and me and her, we ended up meeting up in front of the school. We got in my car and I started driving to the mall. As I was driving to the mall though, I remember she started getting really touchy with me and started putting her hand on my thigh and stuff and basically was signaling that she was really in the mood. I didn't know why, but obviously I was like, you know, kind of just telling her to calm down and stuff because I get it. I was attractive back in high school, but I don't think I was that attractive. But once we got to the mall, I remember me and her, we started walking around. I started basically telling her about myself this time. And well, I'm not gonna lie, we got along pretty well. We both realized that we both enjoy doing the devil's tango. But other than that, we both enjoyed the same foods and stuff. And I remember as we were walking through the mall, out of nowhere, she ended up seeing this bubble tea place. Now, I like bubble tea. I think bubble tea is a really good drink. And I remember I ended up going up to the bubble tea place and ordering a drink. And she did the same thing as well, except the one thing that was really odd is that after when she got her drink into her hand, me and her started walking around and I started to realize that this girl was not drinking her bubble tea. I looked at her and said, "Oh, are you like not thirsty? Do you not want it anymore?" "Oh, yeah, I'm actually not that thirsty. Here, you want to drink it?" Yeah, sure, I'll drink it." So I remember after I finished mine, I ended up drinking hers, but halfway through drinking hers, I remember I wasn't really feeling it anymore because I felt like I had too many bubbles or bobas, I guess it's called. And basically I was planning on throwing it away. But as I was about to throw it away, she looks at me and says, "Bubba, are you seriously gonna waste that? There's no way. I mean, it's not that much left. Bubba, just drink it all. Come on, you're gonna need it for later." "I'm gonna need what? What are you talking about?" At this point, she went silent and started giggling, but I did not know what she meant when she said that, and it started to make me worry. Was this the weird thing that everyone was talking about? Well, later on, you guys will figure out what it was, because I remember after we finished hanging out at the mall, me and her, we went back to the parking lot and got in my car. And when I got inside my car, I remember I was just basically planning on just driving her back to her place and dropping her off, but she had other plans in mind, because I remember she looked at me and said, "Oh, Bubba, I was just wondering, want to like actually head back to my place?" Yeah, okay, sure. You know what? We'll go back to your place. And I remember we ended up driving back to her place. I parked the car, and I remember once I walked through her house doors, I instantly realized I had to go to the bathroom. So I look at her and say, "Oh, so I was just wondering, where's your bathroom?" "Oh, don't worry, you're not gonna need it right now. We can use it later." "No, but I need to go to the bathroom now." "Oh, Bubba, trust me, you're gonna need it for later." "What do you mean I'm gonna need it for later? What are you asking me to do? Do a urine test?" At this point, I didn't know what this girl was talking about, nor what she needed. And then one thing led to another. I remember I ended up going into her kitchen with her, and then she pulled out like 4 different water bottles, and I looked at her saying, "Oh, are you thirsty?" "Oh no, this is for you. Don't worry about it." And then she ended up taking me into her bedroom with the water bottles that she had in her hand, and one thing led to another. She put them all on the nightstand. At this point, I was questioning what was going on, but then right as I was questioning everything, she ended up hopping onto me and started making out with me on her bed. So at this point, I'm weirded out, but at the same time, I started making out with this girl, but I still had to go to the bathroom. So I remember I look at this girl once again, and I look at her in the eyes and said, "Yo, listen, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna be for real with you here." "Oh, okay, well, you know what? Here, follow me." At this moment, me and her, we ended up going to the bathroom. She showed me where it was, but right as I go in, she comes in right behind me. She comes in with me and she looks at me and says, "Okay, I'm ready for this." She ended up going on her knees and she took off everything and she said, "Okay, Bubba, give it to me." And at that point, I'm like, What do you mean give it to you?" At this point, she was basically asking me to urinate on her, or as people would say, do a golden shower. For some reason, this is actually a thing that people are into. It's really gross. In my opinion, don't do this, okay? It's disgusting. So I look at this girl and I think she is crazy. I'm starting to think, whoa, okay, don't get me wrong, you're hot, but this is freaky. And at that moment, everything clicked, because I started to understand what everyone was talking about when they said this girl was a weirdo, bro. So that moment, I remember I was really weirded out and I didn't pull out my eggplant, nothing. I just looked at her and said, "Okay, listen, there's a lot of things I would do with a woman during the devil's tango, but this is the one thing that I will not do, okay? Like, I am not crazy." She looks at me and gets up and says, "Wait, you think I'm crazy? Are you kidding me? Who do you think you are right now? Okay, like, I get it, you do a lot of the devil's tango, but you are just not him, okay? So you know what? Maybe you should just leave." Honestly, you know, that's probably not a bad idea. She ended up grabbing me by the wrist and actually taking me to her front door and actually basically kicked me out. And even though I was really hurt by it, I remember I got so upset to the point where I ended up going to her front lawn and actually urinated on her front lawn. If anything, I'd rather feed the grass than feed her. I don't know. Honestly, I don't want to say anymore because, well, I don't want this video to get demonetized, but one thing's for sure, that day I started to realize that there are definitely some weirdos out there. But if you guys wouldn't do it and do the same thing as me, then just fall for more embarrassing stories. Let's see how many of you guys are actually weirdos. Peace out, guys.